Well, based on the topic, design and food security, our consultants has a building that has just been erected a few months ago, I think, that absolutely answers this question. It's like a perfect case study. It's a farmer's market. We call it maize-based spot. It's in Niger State along the Mina-Bida Road. Please just go to the next slide. So, zero hunger. The UN has this 17 sustainable goals about how to get everybody in the world from where we are to where we should be. And number 1 on that list is to end poverty. Number 2 is to end hunger. I disagree with the UN. I don't know how you end poverty when people are still hungry. But they're the UN and they said that's number 2. So we're answering the number 2 question directly with this. The number 2 sustainable development goal the UN says end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition and provide sustainable agriculture. Yada yada yada, people should eat food. Next slide please. So the slides are prompts for me more than you, I'm sorry. A farmer's market is basically a market where farmers can sell their agricultural produce directly to the consumers. The whole point is to eliminate everybody in between. I farm my produce, I bring it to you, you buy from me, end of story. There's one here in what shall I call it? Maitama's farmers market. These are supposed to be pictures of it, but I'm sure everybody here has passed by it or shot at it or something. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, okay, there's the main concern here is getting people to eat food. Globally, some New York Times article said that the 2 main problems with getting food across to people come from loss. Loss starts at the beginning of the food chain. This happens when the farmer has experienced blights or pests or all those God factors that aren't really within his control fall under loss. But then the next big problem is waste, which comes at the end of the food chain, and that's usually as a result of storage and distribution. Because he farms his produce, she farms her produce. They have to gather it up together, find somebody who would cart it to the end users, and that person would have to, think about the logistics of storing it, transporting it, getting it in prime condition to the last user, to the marketplace, and then the consumers come there and buy. Now, a whole lot of produce gets lost during this process. Some of it is simply because they're just perishables that can't last so long. Some of it is because technological problems came along the way, the freezer that stores all the meats went, so the meat too went bad. Some of it is, it doesn't look so nice. This cabbage, the first few leaves were not nice, so we can't sell it to our customers. And it's gone. There are hungry people all over the place. So these are the 2 big issues. And the numbers come up to 40% of the food that actually makes it out of the farm gets lost along the way somehow. So the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development came up with some, an agricultural transformation agenda some years ago. It didn't work. So they did another one, a whole new policy. And in that policy, one major thing they identified was that access to the food is a problem. That's why people are still starving. There's the food quite alright, but just getting it to people is the problem. Next slide, please. Okay, these tables just say that the waste and the loss are still the biggest issues. With all of the problem about global warming and crops not doing well, surprisingly, that's not the biggest issue we're facing. We're actually producing enough food for the people in this world, all 8 billion of us. They're just not getting to the people. The next slide, please. So, Enter farmers market. The history and the evolution of farmers market is, let's see. It started organically once upon a time. I mean, it's all there was to do. I farm my produce. When I have too much carrots, I share with my neighbor who has too much spinach, and it goes on like that. Eventually it grew to bringing your excess to a communal space where people can come and buy, which is pretty much what our local markets work as. The only difference was that the farmers weren't the only ones who were in that market. The tanner, the the cobbler, everybody came to that shared space to sell their produce, which is what our regular markets are. Take it one step further, technology came in and showed that you could produce so much more and then store it, and then you would have so much more to sell. And they're like, oh, okay, nice idea. Let my farm become 2 acres instead of 1, and I'll make some more. But then when you do that, you now can't handle the produce yourself. So you find the guy who can. And then suddenly we had so many, middlemen, non-farming middlemen, but enterprising fellows who could go, okay, can you make me 2 silos of grains? I will sell it for you, just make sure you give it to me at a good price. And the middlemen eventually evolved into the biggest power brokers in this whole scenario. And because of this evolution, people realize, okay, this ain't working. I'm farming, I'm doing so much work, but somehow I'm not making a lot of money. This guy who I give all my produce to, I have no idea what he does with it, but he seems to be doing much better than I'm doing. And the end user is thinking, my food is not so fresh, it's not so this, it's not so, how do I meet the farmer himself and simply just get it? And the middle guy is really just the bane of everybody's existence right now. Next slide, please. So, Mezube's farmers market was actually it was inspired out of need, necessity. It was born of necessity because there's a farm, a really huge farm. It's mostly dairy produce, but fed a lot of crops too in Mezube. It's also right along the Mina-Vida road. And they figure, yeah, why don't we just sell our stuff ourselves? So we decided to come up with a design for them right opposite the farm. So all that's separating the farm and the market is a road. It's a strip of road. It's an express for where people go. So the next slide, please. The layout is basically a really huge space with huge windows and a little bit of storage in between, an office for the manager, and then lots of shelves. So shelves for canned and processed goods, then lots of shelves for vegetables and lots of chillers for frozen produce. That is just what it is. Big open space for people to come. And the location is really strategic because being on a highway, I don't know about you, but I cannot be traveling, passing through villages, and I'll be seeing plantain and snails and whatnot, and I will not buy it, and I'll come to Abuja and get it at an expensive price. Hell no. So that's what this place is trying to, take advantage of. Highway shopping gets easy because you can have your meats, your dairy produce, your vegetables, your crop produce, all in one place. Next slide, please. Okay, you can't see all the pictures, so never mind about that. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And the fantastic thing we've also created is an outdoor bank of stalls for the community farmers. So now Mezube is very much a farming community. Mezube farm is not the only farm there. There are lots of smaller farms in the neighborhood. So there's been a quid pro quo relationship with Mezube and Mezube farms and all the other farms in the neighborhood. So they figure, okay, we are creating something for ourselves to sell our produce directly to the end user. How about we do the same thing for our neighbor farmers? So they've also created stalls outside, open air stalls, so that farmers within the community can also come sell their things there. So you'd see these women with their wara, the people with the tomatoes, they all bring it there to sell directly to to customers. The relationship has worked beautifully because, I mean, they hire these farmers so that when they're produce and not going on, they come to Mezube Farm to work. They also buy off the excess produce from them that is processed. Like for the yogurt, the excess produce from dairy produce from other cattle in the neighborhood, Mezube Farms buys it off them. So it's very much been a symbiosis from inception that it makes it easy to bring it into the Mezube spot. We provide water for the community, and there's also a school for the nomadic farmers. So you have kids who come in for just a few months or a year or several years. Because it's a nomadic community, let's not eliminate education altogether simply because they'll be moving soon. So all of this is right there within the same community, and it kind of works. No, it does work. Next slide, please. Mezube's spot is, so like I'm saying, it's part of what we're hoping will evolve into a proper traveler spot, because we've made a filling station there. There's restrooms. There's a mosque. So if anybody knows the traveler spot between Zaria and Kaduna, that's the dream. That's the dream. We know a one-stop spot for everything a traveler would need. We're hoping we could be, a thriving community in a few years down the road. Next slide. So yeah, that's really about it. Some benefits we experience in our, of course, being able to sell our products directly to the end user and cutting out all of the expenses of storage and transportation. Maybe not all, but a huge percentage of it. It's showing on the bottom lines. That's from us, the farmers. That's from the farmer's end. And from the user's end, of course, whenever you're going there, you know that you can buy your produce much cheaper than anywhere else, and it's right along the road. It's there on the express. Of course, the community is totally enjoying that. They have a place they can actually sell their stuff instead of having to go look for somebody who would, transport their goods to the market and all that. So it's very much win-win all around right now. And yeah, so yeah, that's why we're sharing with you. That's it about Mezube Spot. Thank you.